to the top of the mat.
I have my hand in literally every craft. Sometimes when I'm anxious, I really just second guess everything to do with content creation. Cheers! We do remember how to do this. I hope y'all are ready for a regular, standard, run-of-the-mill weekly reading vlog, because I am in full homebody huddle right now. I am loving being at home. I am done with summer. I actually used to be such a summer baby. Like, I used to spend all of summer out in the garden, laid out in the sun, reading. And now I just really appreciate the weather being nice when I'm out and I'm doing things. But then when I'm at home, like, I want the weather to be cool, you know, just a little crisp. Like, I want to cozy up in a jumper and leggings and just do all of my like cozy little hobbies. So that's where I want to be right now. Sadly, the weather hasn't quite caught up, although it has turned a little bit colder as we've got into this week, which I am appreciating. I'm gonna be honest, I got a lot on my TBR. I'm currently exporting episode 7 of Shelved or Scrap It, which took me longer than expected. And I have 8 books on my TBR. We're going to Magical Readathon in September, so I could do with getting through some of them. We are also at the beginning-ish, well, like a day into week 3 of Battleathon. I don't know how my team is doing. I don't know how House of Snakes is doing, and I really need to find out. But I have already read 7 books this month, so I'm definitely doing my part. Let's see if we can get 8 more in. I have 2 books that I'm currently reading, both of which are on my TBR, which is great. I'm currently listening to Waking Gods by Sylvain Nouvelle, which is my current audiobook. I haven't actually moved my bookmark since I listened to a little bit this morning. I think I'm on page 230. I only have like an hour and 20 minutes left of the audio, and I actually think after this I'm gonna go straight into book 3 as well, because I don't have to listen to Wheel of Time until the beginning of October, which is great. It's like a little holiday from book clubs and I'm loving it. But speaking of, actually the next book is a book club book, but this one is the second book in the Themis Files, which is an adult sci-fi series about a group of like military personnel, scientists, engineers who are put together to discover the origins of a really big robot. So all of the parts of this robot were found beneath the earth, but the materials that it's made out of and how it ended up under the earth shouldn't be possible. So this team is put together to find all of these parts, assemble them, and then figure out where they came from and why they're on earth. It's told entirely in transcripts, and the audiobook is full cast, which is why that's personally, in my opinion, the best way to consume the story. And I've wanted to read this series for a really long time, like pretty much since I started BookTube, and I will say that I'm not enjoying it as much as I thought I was going to, but I'm having a really good time with it. Like, when I was listening to it this morning, we had some very unexpected turn of events. Like, I obviously, well, not obviously actually, but to let you guys know, the stakes do get kind of high in here, and I didn't know if I necessarily expected that going into it, and it still takes me by surprise when we have some pretty hefty consequences. Like, I'm always convinced that it's not actually real. So we'll see how the rest of it plays out. I think it is real. I think it's just me living in disbelief. But it definitely went in a way that I did not expect it to in the section that I listened to this morning. It's also a real easy listen and super entertaining, which is another reason, well, one reason why I'm really excited to go into book 3, but also I'll have finished a series, which I don't know if I can say I've done that this year so far. That's really bad considering we're in August. Speaking of finishing series though, I'm about to finish The First Law by Jo Abercrombie. This is the final book in the Age of Madness, which is The Wisdom of Crowds, and it is the catch-up book club book for the months of July and August, I think, officially. And our live show is going to fall super early. Like, I think the live show for this is actually going to be before I post this vlog on the 1st of September. I do get a lot of questions regularly, and I have, like, for the last year, all of this year, I've been getting questions about what the next catch-up book club series is going to be. I'm not telling you. I'm not telling you. You can go and look at the end of the live show, because I'm going to let everyone who's there know. But aside from that, the announcement for our next series will be coming in October, so you don't have too long to wait. But this one is a grimdark series. It is very political. The plot is made up of a lot of like little parts. It's not like a let's save the world or let's kill the bad guy kind of plot. It's more just following these characters in the situations that they end up in based on what the world kind of forces them into. It is one that you can't really explain the plot of, but we are following a group of people. A lot of them are members of the nobility or the royalty, royalty in this series, although there are a couple of common people in here. And the main theme in this one is that we are on the brink of a workers' revolution. So essentially the characters who have come from a lot of privilege, they've also grown up in a peacetime, are going to have the foundations of the world destabilized, and it's essentially exploring how they all handle that. There are immortals in this world as well, and they are kind of pulling the strings in the background. Now, kind of maybe criticism, because I don't know where this book is going, but the immortals haven't played as much of a part in this trilogy as they did in the first trilogy. And then in the standalones, we had little glimpses of what they were getting up to in the background, like what they were setting up. But at this point, in the last book that is currently published, because it's not like over for sure, I don't know why they've done what they've done. And we have like a key player who is still not in this series. Like, he's made cameo appearances, but I expected him to be here by now, and he isn't. So I'm confused about how that's going to play out. I am not actually loving this book. If I'm being honest, I think it's the same as how I felt about book 2, where I've been quite jarred by the start of this one. I feel like over the last 2 books, we've been building and building and building to something. I expected us to kind of see that build come into fruition in this book, and it's happened a lot more suddenly than I expected it to, and also in a way where I feel like we haven't seen it actually happen. We've only really seen the aftermath, and the aftermath is a lot of talking. It's a lot of talking in circles, actually working through ideas, trying to achieve things but not really achieving anything, and it's not the most riveting thing to read right now. So I am hoping, I have no doubt that it is going to pick up towards the end. I'm expecting this to be a 4-star read. I did want a little bit more clarity about the First Law world as a whole from this book, which at this point I just don't think I'm going to get. It's not the kind of thing that Joe Abercrombie writes. He's not an epic fantasy writer. Like I said, we don't have that kill the bad guy, save the world kind of plot in here. And while there's a lot of intricacy in his world building in this series, I feel like he's constantly focusing on the bits that are less interesting, as opposed to like this cool fantastical thing that's like happening over in the corner. So this is what I'm getting on with for now. I do actually have, I was supposed to be sprinting now until this evening, but I've actually postponed those sprints until tomorrow afternoon, and I'm hosting battleathon sprints tomorrow morning. So I'm hoping that I'm going to get through a big chunk of this one tomorrow. I am going to do a little bit of work through sprints as well, but definitely I've set myself up for quite a bit of reading time. And because I was supposed to be sprinting today, I now have an entire evening free. Ooh, it's 5 minutes until I can make dinner. What a beautiful end to my work day. So yeah, I'll let you know what I get up to. I'm really excited about the fact that I just don't have anything on for the next week really, and we just get to spend it together, and it's great. Oh god, I've forgotten how to do this.
That's a leg. Is that grey or is it light grey, dark grey?
Light grey and black, or grey and black. This is Birdo's fist.
Heart lifts up. All right, you can either stay here or lift the left knee up, runner's lunge. Here we go, warming up still. Tippy toe step, hop your way to the top of the mat. Meet me in standing forward fold behind, and not take with me throughout my morning, my day. As we step into our morning, move into our morning. Reach for your blanket. You can always roll the blanket and place the blanket underneath your knees if you have any lower back issues. Not just to ourselves, but to the world around us by being more deliberate, being more gentle. Until next time.
This is yoga with pets. Not a second of peace ever. So I haven't even said hi to you guys today, mainly because I've been in sprints for pretty much the entirety of the day. I started at 10 a.m. and I finished at around 7:30, and in between I had like a 30-minute break because I did like 2 different live streams. So in like 8.5 hours of streaming today, I have read like 30 pages. I'm on page like 204. So I'm gonna read a little bit in bed, but after I finished streaming, my brain was pretty much fried. And today was the day that the wedding episodes of Love is Blind UK dropped. So I had to watch those. And honestly, the wedding bit, apart from the I do bits, not my favorite part of Love is Blind, because it goes through like a bit of a montage of the relationship up until this point, and then everyone kind of getting ready and how they think it's gonna go and their family and stuff, and I'm like, I just want to know if it's a yay or a nay, and then that's it. It was like 2 hours and 20 minutes I think of TV, mainly just in weddings. Now that the series is pretty much over, I'm excited for the reunion episode. And don't worry, I'm not going to spoil anything from the weddings, but I think that this is one of my least favourite seasons of Love is Blind, if you count like all of the US ones. Not because it's like bad, it's just not as dramatic as a lot of the ones that are my favourite ones. The ones that are my favourites, you tend to have some drama going on, like some bullshit, but then you also tend to have like a couple that I'm, at least one that I'm really, really rooting for. And in this, like, I liked a few of the couples, but I wasn't really invested in any of them that much. There's one that I feel like I was rooting for a little bit more than the others, but aside from that, like, I didn't care too much whether they said yes or no. That being said, I am really glad about one of the, like, the outcome of one of the relationships, and I'm sad about a different one, but it's not like the last season of the US one where there was that one couple that like really upset me. Really upset me. It was fine, I would watch another season, but I think definitely in terms of the way that the weddings worked out, do you know the ones like where they didn't end up getting married? I think that they were handled in the UK one a lot more I don't want to say realistic for me, probably because I'm from the UK, it worked out a lot more realistically than I feel like the US one does. I feel like when people don't get married in the US one, a lot of the time, there's like a big dramatic like, oh my god, like I'll never forgive you, never speak to me again. Whereas in the UK one, there was a lot more of like, I care about you, but I don't think jumping into marriage right now is a good idea. Which I feel like is a more realistic, like reasonable response. So yeah, that's what I spent my evening doing, and now I'm going to try and get a little bit of reading done. I want to do some stuff tomorrow. I don't know what. I need to go to my dad's either tomorrow or Friday. I kind of want to go tomorrow so it's done, but I also don't want to because I still have other stuff to do, and I feel like I can't go until I've done all of my other stuff. So we'll see how it works out. I need to kind of make a decision, because while everything's up in the air, I know I'm just going to be unproductive about it. So I need to make a decision about that, but I'll either go to my dad's tomorrow or Friday, and whatever day I don't do that, I want to go to a shop that I rarely ever go to that has some craft supplies in town, because I want to pick up a new craft, which I shouldn't because I have a lot on the go, but I've seen something that would be a really cool Christmas gift idea for somebody. I just need to figure out how to make it. So I'm gonna go and see if I can pick up some craft supplies at some point. And then I also have a video to edit because I'm like being super lax about my video schedule at the minute. I need to edit something for Sunday. That's not a no problem. This is a no problem because I've made no progress today. So I woke up anxious this morning. I'm actually very annoyed about it. I'm not happy about it for many reasons, obviously, but there is absolutely no reason for me to be anxious today. So I'm very frustrated, but I'm just trying to roll with it and get stuff done regardless. And all of the stuff that I said I might do last night, I'm trying to get all of it done today. I mean business. So I've already been to my dad's this morning and I picked up my car. That's the reason why I needed to go. He was doing some repair work on it. So that is now back with me. I am currently transferring the last of the files that I need for the vlog that needs to go up on Sunday, which I think is going to be a pretty quick one, so I should be able to edit it relatively quickly. And the weather is gloomy as hell right now, and honestly I'm not mad about it. Like, it makes me want to wrap up in a blanket and be cozy, and that's pretty much my plan for as soon as this video is edited. And while I do that, I am actually going to attempt to learn a new skill with the help of the sponsor of today's video, which is Skillshare. So if you all are unfamiliar with Skillshare, they are an online learning platform that offer classes in a variety of subjects. So you have things like marketing, photography, program specific things like Procreate or Adobe Illustrator. You can learn painting, sketching. Something that I did not know was included on here that I've stumbled across accidentally today is baking. And you can bet that I'm going to be checking that out in the future, because I saw a croissant making class, and I do bake, but I'm more of a cake and cookie person because bread and pastry scares me. So I do expect to be delving a little bit more into the baking section in the future, because honestly, I'm sure you've noticed from this video, as we're heading into autumn, as this gloomy weather is rolling in, I have my hand in literally every craft. So the craft that we're going to be learning today, or attempting to learn, is crochet. So I have been a knitter my entire life, and crochet confuses the heck out of me. One of the good things about Skillshare is that it is good for absolute beginners, but also people who have a little bit of knowledge of something to kind of brush up on skills or build upon the skills they already have. And my mum taught me to crochet many years ago, and I've kind of forgotten at this point how to do it. I've also made an amigurumi dinosaur in the past, which I remember being a real struggle, but that was like, still, it was like 10 years ago. So I feel like a complete complete beginner, but I'm thinking that maybe when I get into it, then it'll all start coming back to me. So the class that I'm attempting to do today is from Emily Baldock, and I looked at her page and I am in love with all of her classes. She has like complete courses for crochet, but different types of crochet. So there's two that I'm looking at. One is for learning all the basics and one is an amigurumi masterclass. So I think I'm going to start with the basics, but both of these have like a variety of projects that you make throughout the course so that you're constantly building upon the skills that you're learning so that you can apply them to different things, which I think is really cool. And I just really want to make amigurumi because I think it's so cute. So now that the cozy autumn vibes are rolling in, if you too would like to pick up a new craft, if you too would like to learn how to make croissants or how to crochet, I am happy to let you guys know that the first 500 people that click on the link at the top of my description box will get a free 1-month trial to Skillshare Premium so you can pick up your next cozy hobby. Like I said, there is a variety of stuff to choose from, and with the colder weather making an appearance, nothing sounds better to me than cozying up on the couch with a blanket and a cup of tea and delving into a new project, and that's exactly what I plan on spending my afternoon doing. So I think my goal for this vlog is to make a couple of the things. I'm going to start with the complete crochet course and see if I can make a couple of the projects before the end of this vlog. So there's like a boho bracelet, which essentially I think is going to be a chain, so that should be super easy. But the mug rug, it's essentially just a square, so I feel like a mug rug could be a good shout to have finished. I can crochet a square by the end of this vlog, right? That should be completely possible. But the reason why I wanted to go out today to the shop, and I am going to go do that, I'm going to take Brie because they allow pets into the store that I'm going in. I don't know why, I just fancy the company, but I have a set of crochet hooks that I need to dig out that I bought like 10 years ago because I was intended on getting into crochet and then I just never did. And I do have some super chunky yarn, which it does say here that I need 170 grams of super bulky yarn, which should be fine. But I also need some worsted weight, which is more of a medium yarn, and because I've been knitting big chunky blankets, I don't think I actually currently have any of that. So I'm gonna go out and get myself a couple of different types. I think I'll get some DK while I'm out there as well and see what we can do. But first I do kind of, because I'm gonna spend the rest of the day figuring this out and maybe watching something while I do it, I think that I want to make sure that I get this vlog edited first. So I'm going to move on with that. I've just finished editing my vlog and I was right, it only took a couple of hours, which is really good actually because I'm struggling today. Sometimes when I'm anxious, I really just second guess everything to do with content creation, but specifically vlogs. Like the last clip I filmed that you've just seen, I've considered deleting it and redoing it like 5 times in the process of doing that vlog, so editing was just a bit difficult. I really just don't know why I'm so anxious today, but I'm gonna go dig out them crochet hooks, make sure that I have the right sizes, and I'm gonna take myself on a much needed walk. I'm gonna go to the library and pick up a book that I've reserved that's come in, and then I'm going to get the yarn that I need, come home and wallow in a pit on the couch. Sounds a plan. So I actually found these much more easily than I expected to. They were right at the top of the box. And look how pretty they are. I don't even know if I used these for the project I was working on or whether I ordered these because I didn't have what I needed for the project I was working on, like to use in the future. So I don't know if they've ever been used. They were very expensive as well because of how long ago I bought them. But I've checked just in case I do want to dive into the amigurumi one at some point. I need a 2.75 millimeter for that, which is that this one? I mean, I don't have one. I've got a 2.5 and a 3, but I feel like that's fine. It's like a 1/4 millimeter. We should be okay. And then the Crochet Basics one I think uses a 4 and a 7. I don't have a 7, but I do have a 6.5, which once again, like, I'm fine with. I love how I'm checking to see what I need and I don't have what I need and I'm like, it's fine, we'll just wing it. And then the Granny Square one uses a 3.5, which I do have. So yeah, we're all good, and I'm gonna go get what I need. I don't know what color yarn to get. I might just get like a fun rainbow one. We'll see what they have when I get there. I've just returned from my adventure. I'm setting my vlog to upload so that I can proof that in the morning. Can you stop, please? Literally, if I leave for like 10 minutes, she starts throwing a fit about it. But going to get that wool was almost dangerous for my wallet. I very nearly walked away with that cross stitch kit that I saw, but I was like, no, like I know how to make, like I have a full set of embroidery thread. I know how to buy fabric and get patterns on Etsy. I don't need that right now. And then the pumpkin fabric kit, that was also very tempting to me. But the book that I picked up from the library, I'm not going to go into too much because it is The Warm Hands of Ghosts by Catherine Arden. It is a World War I, I think, historical fantasy that was released earlier this year. And I had it out from the library last month and I didn't get to it, so I had to go back and I've got it out again. Hopefully I'll get to it this time, but I'm not promising anything if I'm being honest. And then the yarn was not as successful as I wanted it to be. They didn't have any worsted weight, so I got 2 different balls of DK, which is a similar, like it's a medium weight yarn like worsted is, but I think it's slightly thinner, so I may have to adapt by going up a hook size a little bit. But I got like a beigey Marley one and this really nice earthy one, so I'm just gonna I've just got them to play around with, so I wanted something a little bit more interesting in case, instead of just making like solid color squares. So while this is uploading, I'm gonna crack on. I'm gonna start that class and sit at my desk for a bit while I do it, and then when I get the hang of it a little bit, hopefully I'll be able to put my audiobook on, because I actually only have not very long left. I'm down to 35 minutes left in the audio. I haven't seen yet how much that translates to in pages, but obviously it's not very much. So I feel like if this is successful, then I could also be finishing my audiobook tonight, which would be cool.
So we're gonna start with the slip knot. You pass your hook inside the loop. There's 2 different ways to hold your hook.
Do you remember how to do this? So I completed my first project, my boho bracelet. I'm gonna be real, I'm gonna unravel this because I do not need a boho bracelet. But it's surprising how quickly that came back to me. Like as soon as I watched the first bit of tutorial where she did like the first loop, I was like, yeah, no, I remember how to do this. So we're now moving on to single crochet, which I think will lead into a project of making a mug rug, which is essentially a square. So that's obviously going to take a little bit longer. So when I get to grips with that, I think I'm going to pop my audiobook on. I'm going to go make dinner now, but I did manage to make this. Single crochet stumped me for a little while. I had a counting issue and I had to like I'm gonna lose my hook. I had to unpick it like 3 times and to like make sure that I was counting properly, which I think has always been my issue with crochet, the fact that I struggle to like see the stitches and put my hook through the right ones, but I feel like this is going well. Good morning. I have finished some things today. I was just proofing my vlog and I've finished my mug rug. I say this in quotations because I did, if you can see here, I'm pretty sure I dropped a stitch here. Either that or my tension got significantly tighter, but I do think based on the shape of it that I did drop a stitch. But I was like, it was a good practice exercise. I can single crochet now. And I immediately, this is like just as a illustration of how this is going back to me, I was like, oh, I'm just gonna like do a little thing around the edge, and just immediately instinctually just knew how to kind of add on to what I'd already done, which is wild. It's like it's a weird muscle memory. Like I don't logically know how I remember any of this. I also don't know if I ever learned properly like any of this, but you girl has skills and I'm putting them to the test. So yeah, I finished that, but before that I finished the audiobook of Waking Gods by Sylvain Neuvel and I gave it 4 stars. I did really enjoy it. I am definitely not enjoying this series as much as I did think that I was going to way back when I started BookTube. These were like 5-star predictions for me, and sadly that is not the case. I do think that the value in these is in the audiobooks. Like they really shine if you listen to them as opposed to reading them physically, and the full cast audio experience and the fact that the format of this is transcript really like pops when you listen to it in audio. This has a apocalyptic kind of direction to the plot that I also wasn't expecting, although thinking about it I don't really know what I expected from this series going into it in terms of the plot. And every time I listen to an installment in this series, I then don't know where the series is going from then. Like I don't know what our ending point is going to be. I assume that we are going to try and save the world, but I feel like it kind of gets more and more hopeless as as the story goes on, and it took me a while actually to realize how serious the plot of this was, because I kept thinking like, I don't know, I just don't know what I expected from this, but I didn't expect there to be so many casualties and for us to build up to such like a catastrophic place so quickly. One thing that definitely annoyed me about this one is that we introduce a child that becomes a main character, and I don't want to say I hate her, actually, that's a little bit rude. She irritates me. She's so whiny, and don't get me wrong, like, it makes complete sense. She is a 10-year-old. This is kind of a dire situation. She's a kid. Everything's scary. She's gonna overreact and panic. It makes sense. But having to listen to that is so irritating, and it really, really grates on me, especially being a child. It's like a high-pitched, whinier voice than an adult, and it's really just like, yeah, it's not fun. It's not fun. So I think, I don't think any of the other books on my TBR have a spectacular audiobook, which is really unfortunate because I do need to be reading my TBR right now, but I do also need to pick up a new audiobook. So I think at this point I am going to go into the third book in this series, even though I don't have a physical copy. I need to order it from Sci-Fi, but the thing about Sci-Fi, actually no, I take that back. The thing about me, it's a me problem. So I don't want to pay £11 for this, which is how much it is new. I think on Amazon it's like £10. On Sci-Fi you can get it secondhand for like £3. Amazing, great, but I have to pay £1.50 shipping. Very small shipping fee. Like, I agree, it's not a lot, but when like I said, this is a me problem, when I order books online, I won't just order one book unless it's from Amazon, because I have Prime, so the shipping's free. If I have to pay any kind of shipping cost, I have to order more than one thing, and I don't have anything else I want to order. I don't want to order stuff for the sake of it, so I am going to drag my feet on ordering that. I mean, it's fine because I'm listening to the audiobook, but at this point, like, I do want a paperback of it. So yeah, we'll order that when we order it. When will that be? I have no idea, because I don't really intend to buy anything that isn't a new release at all right now. So we'll see. In terms of my other book, which is actually here, The Wisdom of Crowds, I have just hit page 300. I'm not having a good time with this. I'm not enjoying it, and I cannot tell you why. I didn't seriously consider, because it's the last book in the first law and it's for my own book club, but I had feelings of DNF last night. Like, these are characters that I know that I care about at least somewhat, and I just do not care, and I cannot put my finger on what it is. I do think it might be me, because like I said, I was feeling quite anxious yesterday. I'm feeling better today, but I feel like quite sleepy and run down. So I don't know if it's a me problem, but I'm really, really struggling with this one. So today I don't really have much to do. I need to work out, wash my hair, and I'm gonna edit, I think, this vlog up to date, just to make my life a little bit easier in the long run, because I'm quite busy next week. Next week I have 4 live shows, 3 appointments, and then like regular I have nothing pre-filmed or ready to go, so I have content to make. So I think I'm gonna edit this today just to make my life easier, like in the future. But apart from that, I think I'm gonna try and get some reading done, because I don't want to drag my feet on this, because like I have other stuff I need to read, and at this point I feel like I just need to break through whatever barrier it is that's making me really drag my feet on this one. I thought that, seeing as I showed you picking up my parcel, that I would stop by and show you what was in my parcel, which is a new pair of Lucy and Yak dungarees. I did actually get these ones off Vinted, because my new Toxic tray is selling my books on Vinted and then using the credit to buy something else. So last time it was a Sky Dancer, don't even ask. And this time it's dungarees. So these ones are the black cord ones. I had the leopard print cord ones, which, as you all know, are like one of my favorite things to wear. I love them so much. And I wanted some that were a little bit more chill, like not as in your face, and also just an extra pair so that I could wear them all of the time, but not like the same ones all the time. So I went with the black ones. I was debating getting the black ones last time, and I was bold and I got the leopard, so this time I got the boring black, and it's a win. I mean, I feel like at this point Lucy and Yak dungarees are always going to be a win for me. I do prefer the cord. I think texturally and like the weight of them is just more me than the cotton, but yeah, I'm a big fan. I don't want to end up with 20 pairs of them, but I also kind of do at the same time. So it's Saturday today, and I have been preparing for the paint and sip with Gavin tonight. This does not need to be a mirror selfie anymore. Excuse the mess as well. It is clean bedding day, but I have been setting up for that, which is started at 6 p.m. so I have like a few hours. But I'm excited. I'm going to crack out my paint by numbers. I'm going to drink some black Russians. It is inevitably going to be chaos, but I am here for it. So I've already done some stuff this morning, and I think because we're going to be having an early dinner because of the paint and sip, I think I'm pretty much just going to read. I'm now like 400 pages into, what is the book called? The Wisdom of Crowds, and I am enjoying it a little bit more at this point, but I think that that is because we actually just passed, so like I put it down at page 380, and if something hadn't happened at the end of that last chapter that I read, the book could have ended there. I feel like the events of the plot are super accelerated in this one. So at this point where we're at now, we're moving into like the next phase. So where we were has kind of resolved, and now we're moving into like a different step. And I don't like where it's going, not as in the book is bad, like before I was bored, not in that way, just in like I don't like it. It's upsetting me. So I'm enjoying it a little bit more now, but I do feel like the flow of this one is a little bit disjointed. Like this book could have been a trilogy, or at least at this point a duology in and of itself. So I don't know whether I'm going to get to the end and feel like it's a little bit rushed, because now at this point I'm like, okay, now what's happening now? Now that we've resolved this element, where are we going now? So I actually because I have the paint and sip, I don't think I am going to finish this tonight, because after 6 p.m. like no reading is going to get done. Even if we wrap up the paint and sip early, I don't think I'm going to be able to read very much. But I have absolutely no plans for tomorrow. I want to get some stuff done in the house, but I've also left it completely free in case I have a hangover. So if not today, it should definitely be finished tomorrow. It's nearly time. Cheers. That wasn't very smooth, but it'll do. Good afternoon. I hope that y'all have had the coziest of Sundays, because that is what I am currently working on. I had a great time last night. It was really fun, and I thankfully did not get too drunk. I did stay, I think the live show was like 5 hours, and then I stayed backstage with Gav for another like 2, so I only got to sleep at like 3, which meant that I slept in today, which obviously, I mean, it's fine because it's a Sunday. Actually, considering we did a 5-hour live show, I did not make as much progress on this as I anticipated I would, but that's not a bad thing, because now I can listen to my audiobook and do some painting, which I've literally wanted to do since this arrived 3 weeks ago. I have read a little bit this morning and this afternoon, because I didn't have a whole lot of morning left when I got out of bed, and I just have 60-ish pages left of The Wisdom of Crowds. I am enjoying this final section a lot more than I was like that whole middle bit. I'm unsure at this point what my rating's going to be, because I feel like I can't kind of disregard the fact that I disliked the middle so much, but I'm also having such a good time with the end again. Like, it's kind of bittersweet, but we're also like calling back to things that happened in book 1, and I'm really enjoying that element of it. Like, my favorite characters in here are Rika and Orso, and I'm really loving their involvement in what's happening right now. Gavin is currently doing public reading sprints as well, which I did tune into, so I think I might stick those on in the background while I do a little bit of painting. I did start Only Human by Sylvain Nouvelle the other day. I only listened to a little bit, but that is the audiobook that I'm currently going with. And then in a couple of hours, I'm gonna make an apple crumble, because I was out in the garden picking up poo, as you do. And I noticed that the apples on our apple trees are real good this year. Like, they're real big, they're real round. And I actually pulled, is it over here? I pulled the perfect apple. Look at this. This is like a storybook apple. So I'm gonna go, Brie now wants to eat it. These ones are cooking apples. We also have eating apples on 2 separate trees. So I thought, because cooking apple trees are normally useless to me, my dad has tons of them in his garden and they just fall on the floor and they get scooped up and nobody eats them. I was like, no, I'm gonna make an apple crumble. So a little bit later in the afternoon, I'm gonna do that, because obviously like you bake them fresh to eat with dinner, and we'll see how it goes. I've never made an apple crumble before. I thought it was going to be harder than it was, but I found like a Mary Berry recipe, which I'll put in the description box if it all turns out well, and it seems pretty simple. So those are my plans for the day. Oh, fortnight this evening, because we missed it on Friday. So I'll come and check in with you guys assumedly when I finish The Wisdom of Crowds, but for now I'm actually, the chicken I have in the oven is nearly done, so I'm gonna make myself a beautiful hot roast chicken breast sandwich and then crack on with some painting.
Just back down what we can see.
on the daily. These awards.
Absolutely.
Sir.
And when we come home and we need to work fun things with our mom, we love doing things with our people. Grew up with that deal myself.
Is that pit? And put on some deodorant.
How are you guys moving to the world in this way?
Look at that. What a stunner. Good morning, my guys. I'm not feeling my best. I've had a lot of anxiety over the last 24 hours and I think it's because I've overbooked myself massively this coming week. Essentially, it could not be helped, but I've got 3 appointments this week, one of which is like way out of town, so we're gonna go to Costco as well and kind of like make a day of it. I have a concert on Saturday night. Luckily it's pretty local, so it's not the worst case scenario, but I also have 5 live shows coming up as well as like all of the general like work and stuff that I need to do. So when this happens, I start to feel very overwhelmed and like almost claustrophobic because I feel trapped within my schedule. So yeah, it's just a one-way ticket to anxiety for me, but the only way to kind of get through it is to get through it, put one foot in front of the other and work on the stuff that I need to get done, which to start off with is filming a couple of videos today, hopefully getting one edited, getting a workout in, and then setting myself up for success because it is my Patreon 24-hour readathon starting at 6 p.m. tonight. But I'm not here to complain about all of the things that I have to do and how that's making me feel like I'm on the edge of panic constantly. I'm here to let you guys know that I did finish my book last night, which was The Wisdom of Crowds, of course. So I finished this one in bed and it did not end kind of the way that I expected it to. I can say almost with certainty at this point there are going to be more books in the First Law world, and I know that Joe Abercrombie isn't one for kind of resolving anything anyway, but this ended in a way that definitely signifies to me that there are things to come. So I looked into it a little bit and apparently at different points he said like, yeah, he's going to continue eventually. He is working on The Devils, which is released next year at the minute, so he's not working on it right now, but maybe in the next 5 years we could start to see more First Law books be released. I read that it is potentially going to be a few more standalones and then a final trilogy, so if we go on that trajectory we're looking at like those being published I think over the next 15 years, so we have like quite a while to wait. But I did end up giving this one a low 4-star rating, which I was, as you guys know, I wasn't sure whether this was going to come in as a 3 or a 4, but I did really like the end of it. There were a lot of bittersweet moments in here, moments that I'm definitely not happy with. We had characters that I absolutely hate kind of coming out on top and characters that I love like hitting rock bottom. We had almost like not quite a redemption arc, but we had a character reclaim their badassery, which I really loved, and one of my favorite characters did end up kind of in a favorable place. Now that character that I was thinking about that like kind of hadn't made an appearance at this point still had not really made an appearance by the end of this, which is why I think we're definitely going to get some kind of final story arc to bring their story to a conclusion, because while they're in the background of this most of the time, they are a very central part of the plot of the First Law. Joe Abercrombie is definitely not my favorite, like I can say that with certainty. There are a lot of things about Joe Abercrombie's books that I do not really love, but there are things that I do also really enjoy. I don't really love the repetitiveness of the stories, how we have characters like this was a generational series, so it was following the children of some of the characters we followed in the past books. I don't like how they kind of repeated their parents' story arcs in some ways, which is almost the point. It's kind of like Wheel of Time. Realm of the Eldlings also follows like a cyclical nature of everything that's happening again until people break the cycle, and I understand that, but I feel like in this one in particular it does feel a little bit repetitive, because throughout like Wheel of Time you're being told that like things have happened before, and the same with the Realm of the Eldlings, but the iteration that you are following is the first time that we as readers have seen it. And with this one we are seeing the cycles repeat over and over and over again, which can feel a little bit samey, especially when characters are very similar to characters we've read from before, and it can get a little bit tedious. I did like that the focus of the Age of Madness series was a lot more political and mundane than the First Law, like the original First Law trilogy, which was more following being like a magical quest in a way, although there was like all of the books are heavily political. This one, like the main plot very much focused on the monarchy and this workers' revolution and overthrowing the nobility and how people are kind of trying to deal with that. And I did like that story arc, even though I didn't love some of the places, like especially throughout the, I want to say the middle third of this book was really not my favorite. So I finished First Law, guys. That's Catch Up Book Club done. That's round 3 of Catch Up Book Club over. And keep your eyes peeled for October, when we will be announcing. A lot of people know what it is going to be by now, but the official announcement will be in October for our 4th round of Catch Up Book Club. Now I'm moving on to another book that is on my August TBR, a book that I will be reading for the 24-hour readathon with my patrons, which if you are no stranger to my channel, you will know is going to be Killer by Sarah Shepard. So this one is number 6 in the Prettiest Liars series. It's a YA mystery series following a group of girls whose friend went missing a couple of summers before the start of the series, and they are currently receiving text messages that are blackmailing them into doing what this anonymous person says, otherwise they will reveal all of their secrets and ruin their lives. And as this progresses, things get more and more dangerous as this anonymous blackmailer starts to actually hurt people, as opposed to just playing like a silly little game of I'll tell you secrets if you don't do what I say. I actually really enjoy these. I find them to be very entertaining. They're nice palette cleansers for me. I honestly don't know why they work for me when I dislike paranormal romance so much, and I know they're completely different genres. I mentioned in the last vlog the thing that it is that I don't like about paranormal romance is how kind of short and episodic they are. Now this is following like a little bit more of a story arc, but in every book like it doesn't last very long. They're only 250 pages and it's not like an epic sweeping plot, you know, like it's more of an entertaining while you're reading it kind of situation. So I honestly don't know why that works for me when in any other genre like I really dislike it, but I'm having a good time with this, so I'm going to continue to do so. So I have already started it ahead of the 24 hours, but I'm only like 20 pages in. I just thought that I might as well start this because it's going to be my next read instead of whatever it is that I end up picking up probably during the 24-hour readathon and also after, because this is like for the 24 hours, this is my priority. I'm also making a lot of progress on my audiobook, I'm not gonna lie. I think I'm about 1/3 of the way through. I have 3 hours and 6 minutes left, which translates to, because I'm listening on 1.7 speed, it translates to like 5 hours and 16 minutes, and I've listened to 3 hours and 25. This is why I like to have a physical copy to reference when I'm listening to audiobooks, because I have no idea how many pages I've read. But yeah, Only Human is going. Like I said, I think it was in this vlog, I don't gravitate towards first contact with alien stories, and now in book 3 this has gone in a more of like an alien direction than it has in the previous 2 installments. So I feel like I'm not enjoying it as much because of that, but I'm still enjoying it, especially in terms of it being entertaining and audio narration. So that is where I'm at. I'm going to be wrapping this vlog up tomorrow, so we'll see what I get through. I imagine that I'm going to be finishing this and starting something else. What that something else is, we will see. I have an idea, but also like I'm thinking, because I need to film a magical readathon TBR and all of the prompts are super specific. So I'm trying to work out if there's anything I have left over from my TBR I can put into my September TBR, or whether we're just going to be struggle bussing the entire way. So I am about to go to bed. I did not make it until midnight for the sprints. I try to, normally I do wrap up around 11. I made it until 10:45 this time, so I did all right. But I wanted to give you guys, I guess, a little bit of an update of where I got up to. I've had a terrible day. Today was not my day. I feel a lot better now, but I'm also kind of very drained. Just the anxiety kind of continued into what I'm meant to be in the afternoon. So I'm excited to sleep it off and have a better day tomorrow, because my only plan for tomorrow is to participate in this 24-hour readathon until 6, when I'm going to work out and then like get on with my day. But I have read a significant chunk of Killer, not as much as I would like, because I wasn't feeling great when I started sprints. I kind of needed to have a little bit of a reset right at the beginning of sprints before I went into like properly reading. But I'm 117 pages into it and I'm surprisingly enjoying this one. I say surprisingly because I tend to like the odd numbered books in this series, but the even volume numbers up until this point, so books 2 and 4, have been a lot less enjoyable than books 1, 3 and 5 were. So I'm surprised that I was kind of drawn into this one immediately. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's nothing too deep, but it is a really good time. I have seen the show all the way through as well, so I really like comparing where the show kind of differs from the book, and it's interesting seeing some of the romantic relationships in here. Some of them never happen in the show, some of them there's characters in the show that don't exist in the books, and then you also have like little inklings of ones that were developed over like a few episodes or something, but never necessarily went anywhere in the show as well. The parents still remain to be the worst in here, and it is one of the things that like really actually upsets me. When you're a teenager, I think you have a lot of animosity towards your parents, like a lot of, I guess, I don't know, when you're a teenager, you're like growing, you're trying to rebel, and they're telling you what to do all the time, you're getting into arguments, like you can relate to people being annoyed at their parents and feeling like their parents are like horrible people who live to oppress them, when really they're not. So I feel like when you read books like YA books, especially from like the early 2000s, you have a lot of terrible parents, but honestly these guys are the worst, and they just keep getting worse continually as the series goes on. I think in this one, Spencer's storyline is my favorite. It is a lot to do with her parents and her family, and I know that Spencer's family plays a key part of the plot. It does in the show, but I feel like it was a more integral part of the books than the show, because it took like a while to kind of develop into the plot line that I think is super present in the books, and I feel like we're at the point where we're starting to question that, and her perspective is definitely the most interesting. Emily I've never been a fan of in the show, and I don't know whether I dislike Emily as a character overall, which is why I never liked show Emily, or whether I don't like book Emily at all because I dislike show Emily so much. But Emily is my least favorite right now. Hannah is an icon as always, and Aria's storyline is a little bit better than it has been in a couple of the books, but she's still not like the most relevant. But my plan for now is to go to bed, read a little bit more of this. I'm gonna get to at least halfway, which to be honest is only another like 20 pages, and see if I can finish this off in the morning. So sprints start at 12 again, and I don't have anything I have to do before then apart from to walk Brie. So I think I'm going to try and get a little bit more sleep than usual. I'm going to sleep in just a little bit more because I think that my anxiety that I'm feeling, especially with like kind of symptoms that it's matching up with, I think that this is quite hormonal. My hormones are a lot more in control than they used to be now. It's not like an every month depression and anxiety session, but I think every 3 or 4 months I do have like a particular rough patch, and then like on a monthly basis it's not as like debilitating as it was. So I think that I'm having like a little bit of a rough month with it this month, and that's why today has been so rough, and also why I was feeling a little bit of anxiety over the weekend. And when I'm feeling like this, like I really do just need a lot more sleep than usual. So I'm going to take advantage of the fact that my only focus until 6 p.m. tomorrow is this 24-hour readathon to try and get a little bit more sleep, and hopefully that will still leave me with plenty of time to finish this up, hopefully before sprint start, but it's not like a massive deal if I don't manage to do that before then. It's 3 p.m. so this is a little bit later in the day than I anticipated, but I did manage to finish Killer, which I gotta say is my favorite book in this series so far. I am very invested in some of the individual plot lines that the girls have going on right now, specifically Spencer, and I also do like Aria's, and the way that it's kind of coming together, there are similarities between this and the show, but also things are going in a very different direction. So the suspense is actually hooking me right now. Like I don't know what's going to play out, and we've just had like a massive turning point in the show happen in the books that happened in a very different way. So I could pick up book 7 right now. I'm going to be honest, I'm not going to. I'm going to save it for the next readathon, but this was real good. Obviously they're nothing too deep, they're nothing too groundbreaking, but I'm just surprised at how good these are, because I honestly, like after having them for like 10 years and never bothering to pick them up, I thought that if nothing else I would have outgrown them by now and thought they were awful just because I'm much too old to read them. But I'm having a great time, so I gave this one 4 stars, and I have 2 hours and 40 minutes left of my Patreon readathon. So I am going to be wrapping this vlog up at the end of the readathon, so I'm not going to give you too much information about the next book that I'm going to be picking up, but I'm finally going to be reading Children of Fallen Gods by Carissa Broadbent, which is my Patreon book club book for June and July. Like I'm behind, and ideally I would like to get this spoiler vlog out for my patrons by the end of the month, and I don't know if that's going to happen. Probably not, because it's a 630 page book without me even editing it, but it is a fantasy romance following a girl who is or was a slave. She gains her freedom and she joins joins an order of magicians to petition them to help her free her best friend from slavery and also abolish slavery in the place where she's from. So she gets to this magic place and finds out that these people are not as benevolent as she kind of expected them to be, and for them to even entertain her request she has to learn to wield magic officially and ends up apprenticed to a reclusive fire wielder called Max. I really enjoyed book 1 and I have been excited to get into book 2. I genuinely don't enjoy reading ebooks and I think I might buy a Kindle tomorrow. I don't know, because I don't want to read more ebooks because I have so many books obviously that I own that I haven't read. I read some of my ebooks on Everand and I want a Kindle Paperwhite so I won't be able to use Everand. I do have Kindle Unlimited, that is true, but I also don't buy ebooks. I don't enjoy buying ebooks because I don't enjoy like owning digital media, and the price of ebooks, unless they're, you know, like 99p deals, which I will indulge in occasionally, they're really expensive. They're like the price of a cheap-ish hardback at this point and I'm not paying that for an ebook. So having a Kindle for me is not gonna like change my life or make me read more. It's just gonna make reading an ebook when I do read an ebook more comfortable, which is why I'm always on the fence and I'm like, no, you don't need one. Like I can just cope with my iPad when I want to read an ebook, but we'll see. Because I'm feeling like I might cave tomorrow because, spoiler alert, I do plan on maybe challenging myself to read as many books off my rare TBR on Kindle Unlimited as possible next week. So I feel like buying a Kindle would be a good shout just for that vlog on its own, but we'll see what tomorrow brings. I am definitely going out tomorrow. I will be somewhere where I could pick up a Kindle. Maybe I'll do it, but that is irrelevant really because Children of Fallen Gods, while I do have the ebook out on Kindle Unlimited, I'm going to be sampling the audiobooks so that I can carry on with my paint by numbers. This is my progress pretty much from Sunday. I didn't manage to get to it yesterday and my patrons pointed out that the audiobook for Children of Fallen Gods is on Everand. So I'm going to try it out throughout the end of sprint, see if it's, because I'm picky about audio, as I think I've pretty much said in this vlog. So we'll see if it's one that I can listen to, and if it is, I'll be getting some more painting done, which is exciting. So I'm gonna go do that and I'll let you know how far I get when I come to wrap up this vlog a little bit later on. It is a little bit later than I anticipated coming back to you. I started prepping dinner in the final sprint so that I could kind of like sort it all out as soon as the sprints ended, and that just kind of rolled into me doing my workout, having my shower, getting ready for bed. But I do need to wrap up this vlog tonight because tomorrow I think we're getting up at like 6 so we can head out super early because we have a bunch of stuff that we're gonna go do. So in terms of reading, I did manage to read 90 pages of Children of Fallen Gods. I'm really enjoying it so far. I'm gonna keep it brief because it's gonna roll into the next vlog and you'll hear all about it there. But it is getting off to a faster start than I expected. The audiobook is fine. I don't think I'm going to predominantly listen to the audio of this because I feel like I'm losing a little bit of enjoyment there. It's the male narrator specifically that I don't love. I am picky. I know I'm picky, so it's not that it's terrible. It's likely that I'm the problem, and it isn't a perfect polished audiobook production. There's a lot of like shh noises in his narration that are just like, they're really getting to me. So I do think I'm going to switch over to the ebook. I do also think I am going to go get a Kindle tomorrow, which is very excited. Granted that my plan for next week is to read as many rare authors on KU as I possibly can to see if I need to order anything before rare rolls around. Literally next week, wow, like a week tomorrow, I am going to Edinburgh. So yeah, look forward to that if that's something that you think might be interesting to you. But I'm gonna leave it there because this vlog's been fun. It has been, I feel, like a good old reading vlog. I have read a lot, I've done a lot of cozy activities, and I've had a really good day today, which is good because I had a really not good day yesterday. Once again, a big thank you to Skillshare for sponsoring this video, and do please remember that if you would like to get a free month trial of Skillshare Premium, you can click on the link right at the top of my description box if you would like to pick up a cozy hobby or brush upon a skill of your own. But aside from that, guys, I do hope you've enjoyed this vlog if you've made it this far. If you have, please don't forget to like if you liked it, subscribe if you wanna, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye!
Oh, you bite your friend like chocolate. You say you're a go where nobody knows, with guns hidden under our petticoats. We're never gonna quit it, no, we're never gonna quit it, no.